So just as a short overview, I'm Leela Marshall, for those of you who don't know me, and you probably know my name because you say curse words after it all the time. But I'm responsible for the technology that's in the classroom. So like it or love it, we're here. Or hate it, like it or hate it, whatever. So what
I liked the like it or love it. Those were better choices.
For a long time, I've been looking for a lecture capture, knowledge capture solution that we could actually afford to propagate throughout our 200 classrooms. And for some reason, the $40,000 a box per room solution wasn't working for me. So Panopto was actually free when we started this program. It's now, these guys want a salary. I don't know what the deal is. But I've been supporting it out of my budget for a while. So it's a great product. I hope you learned some stuff today. I am the support person for Panopto at UVA currently. So I think all of you have gotten the invitation from me at some level, so you know how to find me. But I'm really happy to have these guys here. They just showed up on my doorstep and said, we're coming, and so here they are. And I really appreciate it. And I'm sure you're going to ask for questions or whatever you need to do later. But these are University of Virginia faculty and staff, and thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you, Leela. Appreciate it. So we certainly want to keep this interactive as possible. Okay, so again, I am Jeff Dennis, and this is Dave Hanna. I am your account manager, but you know, as much as with a group this size that we can encourage, you know, certainly ask questions. You know, when you feel the need. I'm just curious, has anybody here currently worked with Panopto or made a Panopto recording? Okay, just a handful of people. Okay, so we're going to keep this very much so on the surface. All right, we're going to cover a lot of functionality today, and we're going to show you what Panopto Focus can do for you. All right, so does everybody, just to back up maybe one step, we talk about lecture capture, but does everybody have a fairly good idea? I mean, we kind of fall under lecture capture, but I really think we can do a lot more than just record the classroom. But does everybody have a general sense of what lecture capture is? Okay, very good, very good. All right, so we're a software-based approach to lecture capture, and really we're a very easy way to record any kind of presentation in any kind of scenario. All right, it's something as straightforward and simple as just screen capture and audio, or even just audio. Okay, to something much more complex, integrating multiple camera feeds. All right, integrating the tools that you use in the classroom, PowerPoint, document cameras, okay, interactive whiteboards. Integrating all these streams, synchronizing them, and giving you a very powerful, rich playback experience for your students. Okay. So let's, we have our roots in Carnegie Mellon University as far as back as 2002, and there's really just a couple things that I'll mention now that are coming out of Carnegie Mellon University. You, of course, are one of our 450 higher education accounts that are using Panopto. Okay, but just a couple things I'll mention. The first thing being our Chief Product Officer, Eric Burns, was actually the person that created Panopto. He was a research assistant at Carnegie Mellon University at the time we started Panopto, and he's still with our company. All right, so we've had a real cohesive direction right from the start. Okay, so he's our Chief Product Officer. The other thing I'd just like to mention about coming out of Carnegie Mellon University is, as far back as 2002, we were essentially a project on that campus that became a product. Okay, but we were always about working with faculty and staff, right from the word go, to create Panopto, to drive the direction of the product, and to drive the direction of new features. Okay, so one of the things that we do, if you do, and we certainly hope that's the goal of this session, is to get more people interested in Panopto. But as you become more familiar with that, we maintain a features list, okay? And we'd love to get your input, because it really significantly does drive the direction of where our product goes, right? Okay, let's go here. So I put these desired outcomes up here, and they're just things that I thought that might be valuable to get out of this session, okay? I certainly, I would love to, at any point, I hope you guys can name a 4 and a 5. But is anybody, taking a look at this right now? Because, well, I guess probably you all are, but is somebody really seriously considering starting to do some recording with Panopto? Okay, is everybody on the fence, or does anybody know that this is something they might want to try?
Well, we're already using some products, but we're looking at some alternatives to make our experience better.
Yes.
Okay.
And some of us are here, we support the classroom technology.
Yeah, okay. Very good, very good. All right, so we'll address this first, bullet first here. So, of course, we want you to become more comfortable with the functionality. The only thing I will say is we have a lot of functionality. All right, so at our core, we really do pride ourselves in being easy to use. So I don't want that to be lost in the mix anywhere here. Okay, so and we'll try and emphasize that as much as we can, but we really are very easy to use, and I think that once we get into it, you'll start to understand why. Okay, we are going to explore different ways that you can use it. I like to say, I think as we start to cover some functionality here, I hope that you start to think of some different ways that you might be able to use it in the classroom. Okay? And the last thing, of course, is we are sincerely hoping that when you walk away from this demonstration today, that you want to give Panopto a try. All right, so this was, did we share this agenda, Liam? Okay. So we're going to loosely follow this. Generally, we're going to cover everything that's in here by giving you an overview of the top line there, an overview of Panopto. All right, so we really have 4 key user interfaces, and maybe I'll just even fast forward to the next slide here. All right, we have 4 key user interfaces with Panopto. All right, the first one is the viewer. That's the tool that you use to watch recordings. All right, it's cross-browser, cross-platform. You can see we use a number of, we're compatible with a number of different browsers up there, i.e. Firefox, Safari, and Chrome. All right, but you can watch a Panopto recording on a Mac, on a PC. You can watch it essentially on any device that will stream an MP4. Okay.
Stream a what?
An MP4. A pod. Oh.
MPEG file.
Yes.
MPEG 4.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And the second tool is the Panopto recorder. Okay. That's the small client that needs to be downloaded to make a recording. All right. We have a PC recorder. We have a Mac recorder, and we also have something called a remote recorder, which is also PC-based. And where that would be applicable is if you have some rooms, let's just say this room was set up to be recorded. You had a dedicated PC in a rack, okay, to this room, as well as cameras and microphone, all right? What you could do is actually schedule recordings. All right, so you could schedule an entire semester's worth of recordings tied to your Sakai courses. Right? You could just literally walk away. Right? You could, faculty could just come in and teach. Right? So we have a scheduling feature that's used for the remote recording. And we have a Mac recorder.
You list versions. There are 2 versions ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we support the new one.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
Okay. The third user interface is the Panopto library. This is simply the portal where students can go to access their recordings, okay, and where you, faculty, and staff can go to manage your recordings. And the last piece, user interface or tool, is the Panopto editor. All right, the keys with the editor is all editing with Panopto is non-destructive. Okay, we have a web-based editor, so you always retain your original recording. All right, so we're going to set up, pretty much set up our demo here. We're going to get into the Panopto viewer. So I'm going to go out to panopto.com. You can see I can come to our showcase here, and I'll show you a couple examples. Okay, so this is what a...
Thank you very much. You know how the NFL has, NFL and official, wine and beer of the NFL. So Carla Cohen and Politics and Prose are the official book seller.
All right, so this is Thomas Friedman. Some of you might be familiar with Thomas Friedman, but he's a New York Times columnist. He was out on a book tour, and we had an opportunity to record him. Okay, but this is what a typical Panopto recording looks like, all right? So we have a camera that's following him, okay? With any camera feed with Panopto, I have the ability to
Thank you all for coming
full
out.
screen.
It's a wonderful crowd, and I really appreciate it.
Okay, and I say any camera feed. So in this case, we have one camera
If
feed,
everyone would turn
but
off
we
your
have the
cell
ability to capture multiple camera feeds. We call this a primary video feed, but we can actually capture two secondary feeds. Okay, so in this case, it was just one primary video feed. You can see I here I have a pause button, and this would be the first real takeaway.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Can you turn this audio down so we can hear you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll mute it.
Thank
Yeah, so the first takeaway would be, I don't know if you all noticed, when I grabbed the slider bar and I pulled it out, the slide changed, all right? So whenever a slide is introduced during the original presentation, that's what you get in the playback experience, all right? So if I come over here, you can see, in this case, the tool that was used was PowerPoint, okay? But if he did have additional cameras that were on, they would be tabbed out as object video. If he was capturing a screen, we would have a screen capture tab as well. All right, so I'll just come back here and just, one of the things that we offer is variable speed playback. So I'll mention this. So accessibility is getting, yes?
Sorry, I should have asked this question ago. The PowerPoint, I noticed it's synchronized with the video. Is that synchronization data recorded live during the capture, or does it have to be added later?
No,
Please
it's
tell me it's
captured
number one.
live. So when we get to the recorder, there's an option that you're going to present slides. You check a box for PowerPoint. And when that box is checked, we automatically scrape the metadata. So we take a JPEG still image of all the slides, which I can reveal all the slides if I zoom out here. All right, so this is essentially navigational linear progression of all the slides. And this, too, is another way to navigate through the recording. Okay, as well as we scrape metadata from the slide. So if it's a paragraph, we'll scrape the first sentence. If it's a heading, we'll pull the heading. All right, and then we automatically create this timestamp table of contents that you're looking at. So here's the visual representation, and here's the actual, metadata that was scraped as well as the timestamp. So, any of these slides I can quickly. Yes.
Can I ask a question about the video?
Yes.
You said so anything that plays on MP4 can play yours back. Are you saving it as an FLV? Is it like YouTube, or what's the quality of the?
So this file right here, this is just a WMV file. So when we stream it back, there are two different output types. One is Windows Media Files. We have a newer type that's called Smooth Streaming. It's Microsoft's version of adaptive streaming. If anybody's familiar with that technology. For those that aren't, it's like if you watch Netflix online, it says determining your quality.
Right, it's using kind of Silverlight.
Yeah, right. So we use Silverlight to stream everything back. The adaptive streaming, well, if you're on a lower connection, it degrades the quality, so it doesn't sit there and buffer over and over. So you get a nice consistent stream, whatever your quality is. But yeah, these are just Windows Media Files, and even these Smooth Stream files, it's a Microsoft format, so they're ISMA files. But that's for the online version. The video podcast version is AMP4. We make it MP3 as well. So we have various output types, so you can get it on your various devices.
And as far as the cameras for recording it, so the higher your camera, the better quality.
You can record all the way up to HD if you want to. You just have to have an HD camera, and then there are options in the recorder that will let you, go from something that produces this level of quality. You can go standard high, or you can go all the way up to HD quality if you want to. It just depends what your equipment is.
I think some of this that we're mentioning now, when we get to the recording client, we'll show you where you can select your cameras. Okay, cool. All right, so is that good as far as answering the question about the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
I have 8,000 more questions.
That's okay.
I have a feeling you'll get
Keep
to
them
it.
coming. I mean, we do want to keep this interactive. Okay, so before we move down to I think I started to mention variable speed playback.